Let's talk about one of my favorite topics, people pleasers and narcissists. Now, if you've been on TikTok at all in the last couple of years, you will see all of the stories about when a people pleaser marries a narcissist and how awful it can be. What you never hear about and what you never see is what happens when these things collide at work. I am a people pleaser, and for a little while, I was trying really hard to kill the people pleaser in me. But I like that about me. So since I've decided to embrace being a people pleaser, I've had to learn techniques on how to survive in the world. Because let's face it, being a people pleaser isn't the problem. The problem is when someone takes advantage of it. And the advice that I was given most often is stop being a people pleaser and see what happens when you're trying to make everybody happy. That's not good advice. Why are we not talking about how to deal with the person that's being manipulative, that's being a narcissist, that is abusing the kindness or generosity of the people pleaser? This is the definition of a narcissist. If they're not in this category, they are not a narcissist. They might just be a jerk. But some of these techniques will work for just a regular average jerk. As people pleasers, you're afraid of hurting people, you're afraid of disappointing them, of making them uncomfortable. Meanwhile, you are turning yourself into knots, trying to make them happy. When you're dealing with a narcissist, it's 10 times worse. So that means you need to get to know people. You need to understand people, and not just what makes them happy, but how to work with humans. And sorry, people pleasers, you also have to prioritize your own mental well-being. While I did embrace being a people pleaser, I also embrace that my mental health comes first. You have to learn how to set boundaries. You have to learn the power of the word no. By setting boundaries, you're protecting your time, you're protecting your well-being, and you're communicating to others, hey, these are the things that I need to be successful, and this is what I can and cannot do. It's okay to do that at work. That means with your narcissist friend over there, you have to set boundaries. No is a full sentence. It's okay to say no. If you have to stand in a mirror and say no to the mirror 57 times to be able to say it once to that narcissist in your life, that's okay. Practice away. You also need to learn how to communicate. You have your boundaries set. Now you got to tell people about them. That means that you're expressing your limitations and what you are willing and not willing to do. Small boundaries might be things like, I'm not going to work through lunch. I am going to take my breaks. Bigger boundaries might be, no, I'm not taking on those leadership duties without the leadership title and pay. We'll dive into how people pleasers are dumped on in another video in the future. Remember, you have to set your boundary and communicate it. People pleasers usually avoid confrontation, which is why you need to learn how to fight. I don't mean physically, I don't mean you have to be unprofessional or aggressive or any of that, but you do need to be okay with the consequences of setting a boundary and communicating it. If this is a new thing for you to do, it's going to cause conflict. And conflict does not mean it's a war and a fight. It just means things are a little uncomfortable for a little while you guys figure out how to dance the new way. You have to become assertive. Practice saying declarative sentences and statements. Remember that mirror again? If you need to do it in the mirror, do it. I used to say things as a question. Instead of saying a statement, I would say, well, I guess we can go do this thing. And you could see that I was uncomfortable. You could see that I was not the person that you could rely on. And you could see that I was the one that was trying to make everyone happy as opposed to making a decision. You have to practice those skills. And I still struggle with that sometimes. This is not a learned behavior that I just got, and now I never have that problem where I'm asking questions instead of saying a statement. As I've worked on this more, as my network has grown, and I've met these titans of industry and these kick-ass women that are in leadership positions that are willing to teach, I have become so confident with saying my opinion and my thoughts and just leaving it out into the world to see what happens. It's an opinion, it's an idea, it's a thought. Maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. I don't spend time worrying about taking up space anymore. The narcissist is going to have a problem with you speaking. The narcissist is going to have a problem with you using your voice. That is a them problem. You can't fix a narcissist, but what you can do is control how you're going to interact with it. And you can control how you're going to feel about it later. Interacting with a narcissist can be a soul-sucking moment where all of the assertive things that you practiced in that mirror can just vanish in the blink of an eye. But find techniques that you can stay in control. And sometimes that means, you know what, I'm not where I want to be mentally right now to be able to have this discussion. I'm just going to end the discussion and walk away, and we'll come back to it in a little while. It's okay to take a 5-minute break. Being assertive and standing up for yourself yourself is not being aggressive. It is not being mean. It's not being callous. It is taking care of what you need to be successful. You, people pleaser, also need to take time for yourself. This one is probably the most important one. You're gonna come across that narcissist again. Maybe you report to this person. Maybe you have meetings with them every Tuesday and you have anxiety leading up to those moments every single time. That means that you need to have ways of decompressing. There are a million things that you can do for your mental health. And in this case, the self-care is needed to decompress, either leading up to that moment that you know is going to be heightened anxiety for you, or coming away from it when you know that you had to be assertive and you feel bad for it. Find the thing that you need that helps you calm your brain. I'll give you mine. And I have worked for sure with 2 actual narcissists. One of them I reported to for a few years, and we had standing meetings every week. Being in HR, I have to tell people a lot of things that they don't want to hear sometimes. Every time we had a meeting, coming into the meeting, I just felt uncomfortable and anxious and tense, and I knew that I wasn't going to be as thoughtful and say the things that I needed to say because I wanted to avoid feeling more uncomfortable. The response that I anticipated, very much like you would react to an abusive situation, because it was. As I got older, I stopped worrying about upsetting the narcissist. You will get over it. To go into the meeting, I had songs that I would listen to. I had the same songs that I would listen to. If you are following any of my social media, I posted my recap recently of my music. Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone is the top song every single year. I don't know why that sad song just calms me down and puts me in a good mood, but it does. I would listen to that song on repeat. If I had time, I would go for a walk around the building. I had detailed notes on what it is that I wanted to say. If I needed to sound robotic and just read off of my notes, that's what I did. And I would just look down and read off of my notes. And then when I was done, I would look back up at this person staring me down. But it helped me get through those meetings. Coming away from those meetings, there's also anxiety that comes from that. There's also a little bit of fear of what's going to happen. Did I just upset them? Are they angry with me? Did I just disappoint them? And the narcissist will tell you how disappointing you are and how everything is your fault and your problem, blah, 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 blah. So on the other side of those meetings, I would do things that would pep me up. Before meeting, calming down. After meeting, happy. So I would eat something that was yummy, usually bread, because carbs make everybody happy. Not a lot, because that's a whole different issue. But I would eat, I would listen to happy music, I would play a podcast, I would work on some kind of project or event or something for at least 15 minutes or so after those meetings, to do something happy that I was giving back, because I needed to get my brain to let go of the anxiety that this person just gave to me so that I could move on with my life and keep moving forward as a professional, so that you're not completely mentally exhausted by the time you go to sleep. At the peak of me going through these, I'll say, series of narcissists at work, I lost so much faith in myself. I lost all of the things that made me happy and my joy, and I was miserable to be around at home, and it was just a mess. Felt like a failure all the time, because no matter what I did, I couldn't make this person happy. It's about their needs, their life, what they wanted to do, and they took joy in seeing me squirm, but I could learn to manage it. And that's really all this is about. You have to learn how to manage it. You're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel wrong and against your nature. But at the end of the day, you will be prioritized and you won't be miserable and second guessing who you are and how you should be. Don't try to change and cure the narcissist. That is not your goal. Your goal is to take care of yourself. I hope these things were helpful. If you have other tips that you want to share, be sure to comment down below, and I will see you guys again next week.